The receipt trembled in Marcus Webb's calloused hands, the ink slightly smudged from nervous fingers that had pressed it into his palm moments before. 7 words scrawled beneath the coffee total: meet me before I die. Tomorrow. 7 p.m. He looked up from the paper, scanning the crowded cafe, but the girl with the sad eyes and gentle smile had already disappeared into the Seattle rain. Marcus had served thousands of customers during his 5 years at the daily grind, but something about her had been different. She couldn't have been more than 25, with auburn hair pulled back in a loose ponytail and a canvas jacket 2 sizes too big. She'd ordered a simple black coffee, paid in cash, and when their hands touched during the exchange, he'd felt her trembling. Not from cold. From something deeper, something that made his chest tighten with a recognition he couldn't quite name. Now, standing behind the counter as the evening rush died down, Marcus read the words again. His manager, Rita, peered over his shoulder. "What's that?" "I don't know," he admitted. "A customer left it." Rita frowned, her weathered face creasing with concern. "That's heavy, Marcus. You thinking about going?" Was he? Marcus Webb wasn't the hero type. At 32, he was a community college dropout working a dead-end job, living in a studio apartment he could barely afford, still paying off his mother's medical bills 3 years after her death. He'd learned the hard way that life wasn't a movie where good intentions changed anything. He'd learned that sometimes, no matter how hard you fought, people still left you. But that night, lying in bed, he couldn't stop thinking about her eyes. They reminded him of his mother's during those final weeks, when she'd stopped talking about the future and started saying goodbye to ordinary things: the taste of coffee, the sound of rain, the warmth of the sun. The next morning, Marcus did something he never did. He called in sick. He spent the day cleaning his apartment, then himself, putting on his only good shirt, the one he'd worn to his mother's funeral. He told himself he was being ridiculous, that this was probably a prank or worse, some kind of setup. But at 6:45 p.m., he was standing outside the cafe, watching the same spot where she'd sat the day before. She arrived at exactly 7, carrying the same oversized jacket, and when she saw him, her entire face transformed. "You came," she whispered, and there were tears in her eyes. "I wasn't sure you would." "I almost didn't," Marcus admitted. "I'm still not sure I should have." She laughed, a sound like wind chimes. "I'm Emma. Emma Rosewood. And I know this is crazy, but I promise I'm not dangerous. Just desperate." They sat in the corner booth where she'd been the day before. Emma ordered chamomile tea she barely touched, and Marcus noticed how thin her wrists were, how the fluorescent lights made her skin look almost translucent. "I have stage 4 pancreatic cancer," she said simply, without preamble. "I was diagnosed 6 months ago. They gave me 8 to 12 months, but it's progressing faster than they thought. I have maybe 6 weeks left." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. "Emma, I'm so sorry. But why me? Why leave that note for a stranger?" She wrapped her hands around the teacup, seeking warmth. "Because I've been watching you for 3 weeks now. Every Tuesday and Thursday when I come in for treatment at the hospital down the street, I stop here after. And every time, I see you helping people. Really helping them. Last week, you gave that homeless man your lunch. 2 weeks ago, you stayed late to help that elderly woman figure out her phone so she could video call her grandson. You don't even realize you're doing it, do you? You're just kind. Genuinely, effortlessly kind." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Those were just small things." "No," Emma said firmly. "They were everything. Because I need someone kind for what I'm about to ask you." She pulled out a worn notebook, its pages filled with careful handwriting. "This is my list. 27 things I want to do before I die. Not big things. Not skydiving or traveling to Paris. Just small, beautiful things I've been too afraid or too busy to do. But I can't do them alone, Marcus. My parents died in a car accident when I was 19. I have an aunt in Florida we barely talk to. I spent my 20s building a career in graphic design, working 80-hour weeks, putting off friendships and relationships because I thought I had time. And now time is the one thing I don't have." Marcus took the notebook with shaking hands. The list was heartbreaking in its simplicity: watch a sunrise from the beach. Feed ducks at a pond. Dance in the rain. Have a picnic in a park. Fly a kite. Help a stranger. Learn to bake chocolate chip cookies. Tell someone they matter. You want me to help you do these things? I'll pay you, Emma said quickly. I have money saved. I know it's a huge ask. No, Marcus interrupted, and her face fell until he continued. I mean no to the payment. If I do this, I'm not doing it for money. The next 6 weeks became the most beautiful and terrible of Marcus's life. Every day after his shift at the cafe, he met Emma. Some days she felt strong enough to go out, and they would check items off her list with a joy that felt almost rebellious against the darkness closing in. They watched the sunrise at Alki Beach, Emma wrapped in blankets, crying at the beauty of it. They fed ducks at Green Lake, laughing when an overly aggressive goose chased them away. They flew a kite that immediately crashed into a tree, and the failure was somehow more perfect than success would have been. Other days, Emma was too weak to leave her small apartment, and Marcus would sit beside her bed, reading aloud from her favorite books or showing her photos from his phone of ordinary beautiful things. A perfect rose in someone's garden, a dog wearing a raincoat, a double rainbow over the city. Through it all, they talked. Emma told him about her childhood dreams of becoming an artist, about the parents she still missed every day, about the future she'd always assumed she'd have. Marcus found himself sharing things he'd never told anyone: his guilt over his mother's death, his fear that he was wasting his life, his belief that he'd never matter to anyone. You matter to me, Emma said one evening when the pain medication made her words slow and dreamy. You've given me the greatest gift, Marcus. You've made my death bearable by making my life beautiful again. 2 weeks before the end, Emma was hospitalized. Marcus visited every day, sometimes just sitting in silence, holding her hand while machines beeped steadily. One afternoon, she pressed something into his palm, a sealed envelope with his name on it. Don't open it until after, she whispered. Promise me. He promised. Emma Rosewood died on a Tuesday morning in late October, with Marcus holding her hand and autumn rain pattering against the hospital window. He sat with her body for an hour, crying for the friend he'd known such a short time but who had changed him completely. That evening, in his apartment, Marcus opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a letter and a check. The check was for $50,000. The letter read, Marcus, you gave me 6 weeks of joy I never thought I'd have. You showed me that kindness still exists in the world, that strangers can become family, that connection matters more than time. This money was sitting in my account, useless. Use it for something that matters. Go back to school. Start a business. Help others the way you helped me. And Marcus, please remember, you are not ordinary. You are extraordinary in the most important way. You see people. You care. Never stop doing that. The world needs more people like you. I'll be watching from wherever I am, grateful that in my final weeks, I got to know someone truly good. Thank you for making my death beautiful by reminding me how to live. Love always, Emma. Marcus read the letter 3 times, then a 4th, tears streaming down his face. The next morning, he went to the bank and opened an account, the Emma Rosewood Fund for Acts of Kindness. He kept working at the cafe, but now he noticed people differently, saw their hidden struggles and secret griefs. He helped when he could, gave when he was able, connected when it mattered. 6 months later, Marcus enrolled in nursing school. 3 years after that, he specialized in palliative care, sitting with dying patients, making their final weeks beautiful, carrying forward the gift Emma had given him. And sometimes, when he watched a sunrise or fed ducks at a pond, he felt her there beside him, laughing at the miracle of ordinary things, reminding him that it's never too late to matter, never too late to connect, never too late to be kind. That sometimes the smallest acts create the biggest ripples, and that meeting someone before they die might just save your life too.